welcome back. And actually, this is kind of a first for the channel, is we're going to be doing kind of a quick mini console review. So, I recently picked up the mini G-Box. Saw this advertised on Instagram. I think it was several weeks ago, and I decided to check it out. I'm like, hey, this looks kind of cool. Lots of retro games, relatively inexpensive. So I figured, hey, let's give it a shot. Total cost out the door was $100.46, and that included shipping. So not too bad. Not too bad. So first, I like to start off by talking about the appearance. I'll post some photos up here as well, so you can see the console is about the size of a portable HD or a portable hard drive. And I'll include a photo here for size reference. There's not really much to say about it. It's just a small black box. It's not to say that it's ugly per se. It's just there. It seems it's just built to be functional, as opposed to being a looker. As opposed to something else that has a little more presence. But it does kind of lack character, personality, any actual discernible features, it's lacking. But as long as it's functional, appearance isn't as important to me. Let's move on to controllers. So I opted for the more expensive set, which included 2 sets of controllers. And one set resembles the classic NES controllers, and the other one is like a PlayStation controller. So let's talk about the NES controllers first. As you can see, it's basically your standard NES controller. However, though, looking at the manufacturer's website, you'll see that there are turbo buttons listed on there. There are no turbo buttons on my controller. So, I feel this seems like a bait and switch. Maybe they stocked out and only had these ones. I don't know. I don't know the circumstance. But I wasn't too happy about that because, this wasn't what was promised. So, again, very disappointed. This particular set is wired. And my other negative comment there is the USB cables they come with are only 3 feet long. If you got a 3 foot long cable, you're going to be playing awfully close to the TV, depending on where you position the console, of course. But yeah, 3 feet long is not acceptable. Depending on, again, your specific setup, I'd like at least a 6 foot long controller, if not longer. 3 feet is just not acceptable. It's just you're sitting awfully close. And again, they probably did this to cut costs, but again, as a consumer, I feel that's just not acceptable. The controller feels okay. In fact, it feels pretty sturdy. It feels pretty close to the original from what I can remember. It still has a little bit of weight to it, a little bit of heft. So we'll see how long they last. And next we have the wireless controllers. Now these are battery powered. They take I believe it's 2 AAA batteries. And yeah, it's your basic run-of-the-mill PlayStation clone controller. They are more comfortable than the NES controllers. They're much more ergonomic. But they do have a cheaper feel to it. I don't know, something about picking it up, like they're not very heavy. They sort of have this je ne sais quoi. It's hard to describe, but they just feel cheap. Versus the NES controller felt a lot sturdier. Maybe the plastics used during manufacturing, I couldn't tell you why, but it just has a cheap feel to it. Again, we'll see how long it lasts. Again, not much else to say about the controllers. We already briefly talked about the cables. Both the controller cables and the power cable are 3 feet long. So again, I wish they were a bit longer. But, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. The HDMI cable is not bad. That is 5 feet long. Although it's a little strange looking. I've never seen an HDMI cable that's flat. You know, the cable itself, you know, all of mine are round. This one happens to be flat. It just looks a little weird to me. But hey, it works. It works, you know, so long as it functions, you know, not a big deal. And so, okay, so we talked about the appearance, the controllers, and we're gonna boot up the system now so we can discuss the interface and the games. Okay, so next up we're gonna talk about the interface, and as you can see, this is the home screen here. It just kind of dumps you right in. So just taking a quick look, you know, you can kind of scroll through to see how the games are arranged, and yeah, it's not great. I don't think this is efficient, and I don't think it's very, you know, as a consumer, I kind of look at this and say, wow, what a mess. It's not in alphabetical order. Doesn't even seem to be done by console. That I can't tell exactly, but I mean, what a mess. So there is a section here where you can go and there's a search function. It does categorize it by the genre. So they have a section for 3D games, a section for action games, fighting games, and so forth. So that's helpful. That is helpful. But ideally, I would like it if it was done by console as well. You know, if you had a separate menu, because this is several consoles worth of titles: NES, SNES, Genesis, PlayStation, and Neo Geo were listed on the website, as well as arcade games. Because just navigating through this, I mean, unless you have a specific title that you want to look through, you know, you can go to the search function and then bring up the title. You know, that's okay. But just to aimlessly go through page after page after page, I mean, you could be here for a very long time trying to find something to play. So yeah, interface, not a fan. Not a fan. That definitely needs to be improved. For sure. Next, we can look at the actual games and variety. Well, according to the master list here, there are 3,007 games on here. So if you look at this from a value perspective, you know, I can tell you here, I paid $100.46 for this, and that includes shipping. So doing the math, that works to about 3 cents and change a game. So 3 cents a game, that sounds like a steal. However, let's look at that a little further. So if we go here into the search function, oh, gosh darn it. Okay. If we go here to the search function and say, I want to look up, let's look up Street Fighter. Oh, come on. Yeah, the control itself is okay, but sometimes it can be a little oversensitive. Like, you don't think it's registering, and then sometimes it kind of feels a little undersensitive when navigating. It seems to be better in the game itself, and we'll kind of demo one real quick. So anyway, so, you know, if you're looking for Street Fighter, you type in Street, and you got 5 pages of games. You know, Street Fighter EX Plus, EX2 Plus, 0, 02, 03, and so on and so forth. I mean, I'm not a huge Street Fighter fan. You know, I did own a copy of Street Fighter 2 Turbo, which I think is this one here. This would have been the model I had. But a lot of these just look like kind of clones and carbon copies of the previous one. Championship M4, M5, M6, M7, and each one of these counts as a different game. Is that really a different game though? Yeah, even the original's on here. I've never played the original. But would you count that? I mean, to me, all these would be one game, in my opinion. This looks like it's just one. It's just one single game and just copies of the same game. So it's 3,007 games, but it's not exactly 3,000 individual games you're getting. So something to keep in mind. Is it still a lot of games? Yes. You know, there's a ton of variety here. You know, you probably couldn't play them all, play through each of them, you know, unless you had absolutely no life and nothing else to do. But yeah, there's still a big variety here. So, you know, I don't want to knock them, you know, off the variety. But to me, it doesn't seem like there are exactly 3,007 games as, you know, as the master list shows here. So yeah, we've kind of gone through everything by now. Final thoughts. For the $100 I spent on it, you know, it's not bad. I definitely have my critiques of it. It's definitely not for everyone. But it is really convenient to have a, you know, one tiny little console that's extremely portable. Well, you know, portable in the sense of, you know, it's not like you're carrying around your Xbox. You know, you still need a TV or a PC to play on. Because I believe you can hook this up to a PC to play off that as well, but I have yet to try it, so don't take my word for that yet. Would I buy it again? Probably not. I do have a similar console I did buy several years ago, and it's kind of shaped like a mini Nintendo, but it's just a skin, and it's very similar to this. The exception being is that on that one, the system, the interface was segregated by console, so the interface was a little easier to navigate than this one. So, you know, that's really what I think. You know, I think it's okay. If you want to have one source to play a bunch of, you know, retro games, you know, you could certainly do worse. Is it worth $100? I don't think it's worth $100. I think this console priced at around the 50 to 75 mark would be a very good value. You know, in that price range. At $100, you know, in the triple digits, I think it's not really worth the money. And you know, in terms of quality, we'll see how long the controllers last. You know, to some use. You know, that has yet to be determined, of course. But yeah, that's enough about what I think. Yeah, there you go. I wouldn't want to say don't buy it either. You know, if this looks appealing, you know, go check it out. You can get a cheaper version of this if you opt for just the wired or just the wireless controllers. It's a little cheaper, but it wasn't such a big difference in price for me to justify, you know, saying, well, you know, I can save some money and just get one set of controllers. I'm like, you know, I was curious to see what both controllers look like and how they felt. So I felt it wasn't that much more money, that it wasn't worth the cost. But you know what? Before we go, why don't, let's see. Why don't we jump into something here? I don't know. I don't really play too much Street Fighter. But why don't we jump into one here? See how it looks. So this appears to be an arcade. Hey, I recognize him. He was from Final Fight, the original Final Fight. Memory serves. One of my favorite beat 'em ups. Really fun. Well, can't go wrong with right? No. Okay, and I cannot read that at all. That's okay. So I mean, it looks okay. You know, I don't know what this game looked like. Yeah, I am really not a fighting guy. I've always felt kind of, I don't know, maybe my reflexes weren't really ideal for fighting games. You know, some people love them. You know, I don't know. I think like fighting games are kind of like sports games to me. You know, playing by yourself is kind of boring, but with some friends, you get your buddies together to play, and then it's cool. But just on my own, yeah, once in a while, you know, only once in a while. But it feels okay. Maybe this game in particular, you know, since I've never played this before at all, it's kind of hard to compare. So why don't we look at something else in a bit? The control feels okay. It does feel a bit delayed though. Like you kind of have to time everything. And somehow we managed to win. Nice. So yeah, it feels alright, but you know, nothing to get too excited about. So let's exit out of here, and let's try something different. Let's go to search. Oh wait, still learning how to get my way around. Let's see if the turtles pop up. Here we go. So here they're called the Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, and then there's also Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I believe this was a region thing, if I remember correctly. In the United States, they were the Ninja Turtles, but I think in Europe they were the Hero Turtles, because I guess ninja had some type of a negative connotation to it. Yeah, that's again. Yeah, I don't know for sure, but I do recall hearing that somewhere. So now this I for sure have played. So let's give it a shot. Donatello is my favorite.
Fire!
So this looks like it is the arcade version. I remember playing the NES port. One of my buddies had it, and it was a lot of fun. But man, like we could not, we could only get so far because I mean, it was designed to be an arcade game. A coin-op game, keep throwing in quarters and keep throwing in quarters versus a home game. Once you're out of continues and lives, it's, they didn't seem to really fix that issue. I mean, there's certainly not unlimited continues. But thus far, just kind of, my initial feel, this feels a lot better than the Street Fighter game, hands down. Now, I think it's a simpler game, it's a simpler beat 'em up versus a fighting game, there's a lot more, a little more to it. But, this isn't bad. The controls feel still a little laggy, but not as bad as the Street Fighter game. The response feels a little better. But certainly, you don't want to expect the same type, of response as you or PlayStation controller. You know, it's not that good. But again, for money, you know, it's not bad. It's okay. This brings back some memories for sure. Maybe we'll do
Cowabunga! 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 Cowabunga!
do an episode on this later. There's quite a few games here. Golden Axe is here, Knights of the Realm. There's some good stuff here. Sure, all the nostalgia. That's why I got it. So, anyway, you know, just kind of a quick... Oh, and something to note here. There's no... Even though the company claims you can save your progress, as you can see, not every game has an option to save mid-playthrough. Here, as you can see, there is no save option. Maybe it's the arcade games that lack the save option. I'm not sure. So again, another thing to point out there is you can't save every game at any given time. But yeah, I think that's about it. I think that's going to wrap up this review. Let me know what you all think. If you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe so you don't miss out on a future episode. And looking forward to catching you all in the next one. Later days.